Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to TROP-CAST episode 32. This is the nostalgia effect we're going to call this one because we're going to step a little bit back in time. But first I'm going to introduce everyone. I am your host, Ronan Fox, and with me we have Seamus. What's happening, Seamus?
What's the crack, lads? Good to be back. Had a little week off there.
You had a handy week off, yeah. Little snake.
It was, alright. That's it.
Pat, what's the story, Pat?
Nothing too much with me. How about you?
I'm good, man. Very, very busy with everything, work and whatnot, and playing some video games with my good friend Jack. What's happening, Jack?
Evening, folks. How are we?
Very good. I am delighted we're here with another show. It's a jam-packed one. We've got a lot of news items to get through. One that I'm going to throw out there just to give people a little hint about what we're going to be talking about. Sony has joined up with Microsoft, and you're going to have to stick around if you want to figure out what the hell is going on there. So first of all, we start the show every time with what we're playing. So Pat, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I'm playing very little actually this week, but I played a bit of Soul Calibur 6, and I finally finished off Days Gone.
Nice. So Days Gone, tell us about it. Was it rounded up nicely towards the end without giving too many spoilers? Were you satisfied with the ending? Is there a Days Gone 2 going to be coming?
Well, they do. They have it's open for Days Gone 2.
Of course they do.
They've left it open for that. But overall, I think it's a good story. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's just good.
If you were to give the best aspect of the game, what would it be? If you were to take one aspect that you thought, yes, they did that right.
The immersion.
Okay.
When the game works without glitches. But the immersion is just phenomenal. When you see a bear chasing down wolves or a deer, or wolves chasing down a deer to eat, or freakers like 6 or 7 of them chasing down a wolf to eat, it's really just, it makes you feel like you're there, like it's actually a living, breathing world. And that's one thing they nailed down to the ground really well. But yeah, it's overall a very good game. And you will get my full opinion on the review, hopefully, that I get done next week.
Brilliant. Looking forward to that, Pat. Still rocking out those reviews, so fair play to you. I'm actually going to go next with this one because I usually let everyone have their say, and the reason the reason why I want to talk about it is because, Pat, you seem to be interested in, I suppose, the natural kind of life in video games. You said there, wolves chasing down their prey, and we've been playing a game, myself and Jack have been playing something that has absolutely blown my mind, and that's Monster Hunter World. My story with that game is a little bit, I suppose, mysterious. I jumped into the beta and hated it. Didn't like it at all, didn't like the way the gameplay was, thought the character felt clunky, thought it felt actually quite broken. And I picked it up for $19.99, and the one thing that actually got me picking it up was, on the last show we showed off we looked at the reaction for the state of play, which we're going to talk about later on, and it showed off DLC for that game coming soon. And something just clicked in my head. I knew it was $19.99 on the store. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to just jump back into this game. Everyone seems to be talking about it. And I want to put my hands up and say, if I was to play that game last year, I think that could possibly be, definitely top 3 games that I would have played last year. Just for the simple fact that the life that goes on, the organic kind of ecosystem that goes on in that game, everything has a place. The world seems so alive. Even in the hub world, I feel like I want to explore every nook and cranny, and the level of detail that has gone into that game is actually mind-blowing. We also mentioned that it's Capcom's best-selling game, and that gave me another, I suppose, reason to jump in as well, to see what is the magic there. And anyone out there that's on the fence about that game, I say give it a go. If you want to know what it reminds me of a lot of games. It reminds me of Final Fantasy, in a couple of different aspects. I think some of the art style, the way it's done, some of the way the characters interact with each other, and some of the gameplay actually reminds me a little bit of maybe Final Fantasy 15. It reminds me of Dark Souls. It reminds me of the way that your moveset is so when you go to throw that sword, you've thrown it and you can't get back out of it, so you need to pick your moments to throw the sword. What other games? Shadow of the Colossus, with the massive enemies that you go up against. And you can actually get on top of them and grab hold of them, and if they start trying to shake you off, there's a button that you press to hold on to them, and when they stop you can start jabbing away at them again. It reminds me of Jurassic Park. Do you know what I mean? With just the way we met, Jack will remember that we met a kind of a Tyrannosaurus Rex style. Anjanath, is that the right name?
The Anjanath. You ran into it first, and I'd never seen it before, and then it appeared on my screen and grew a pair of wings, and
it grows wings, and then it starts shooting fire at you. So they do, they do kind of stretch out the whole fantasy of it. And one of the most kind of mind-blowing moments for me in those games is when you're going on a hunt and you're hunting this one creature, and then another monster that you've hunted either before or one that you've never seen will come, and the two of them will actually start fighting each other in front of your eyes. And it's just the animation that they have going on in that game is quite astounding, to be honest with you. Anyone that's out there, just give it a go, give it a try. For $19.99 you get a lot of game. I mean, I don't even feel like I've touched the surface on that. But Jack, I suppose I'll hand it over to you. Me and you streamed it last week, and hopefully we'll be able to stream a little bit tonight. Pat, I know you have it on the library. Hopefully you can jump in with us tonight as well. We can show you the ropes.
I'll be like at the very beginning, so I would be.
So you jump in, do that tutorial, and get ready to rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack, what are you making of Monster Hunter World?
I haven't actually put in as much time into the past couple of days as I would have enjoyed because of work and everything, so I haven't really been playing too much of it.
Yeah.
But I will say I've just made, whatever I have been playing it, I've just been doing mates, collecting materials, trying to upgrade weapons, all that type of stuff, and trying out some different weapons, even though I wasn't too keen on them at first. But I'm still going to stick with that ridiculously oversized Buster Sword. I just can't, I just don't like anything else in it, so we'll be seeing how.
So something that I will say to you, if you go to the research guide that basically tells you about the animals, and you can actually look what weapons are good against what enemies. So the way I've kind of been playing it, just to get myself used to all the weapons and give myself a tryout with all the weapons, is I've been using the recommended weapon for the monster that I'm going to hunt, and that gives me a nice, I suppose, it allows me to test out all the weapons, and they all feel so different. Like you're talking about the Buster Sword, the massive sword where you throw it and it takes about 30 seconds to get it back up onto your back, but if you hit really hard. The one that I've been going for is the glaive, the Kinsek glaive, is that what they're calling it? It's like a double-ended spear, and the way you use that is you kind of juggle in the air, and I suppose the longer you juggle in the air, the more damage you take off the enemy, and that can be good for enemies that are really powerful on ground level. You mentioned something there, Jack, that you haven't really had much time to get to dive into it. What I love about that game is there seems to be, you've a couple of different aspects to it which I like. If I jump on for a half an hour, I'll go and do the arena. Or if I have a little bit more time, I'll go and do the story. Or if I have a little bit more time than that, I'll go and do the event. Like there's so many different elements to that game that you can do depending on how much time that you have with it. And I love that. Like, I mean, you can walk around the hub world and talk to everyone and try and figure out more quests or get more items. Or like you said, go out into the world and pick plants, like is one of the things you can do now, and build up your potions and stuff. Super nerdy stuff, unbelievable. I'm stuck into it like you wouldn't believe. I love it. I'm looking up wikis and all that kind of good stuff, and I'm glad I gave it another chance because I think it's brilliant. Any last words, or what else have you been playing, Jack?
Other than that, it's the biggest surprise ever, but more Mario Kart seems to be
yay
anything at this stage. So
have you
just mainly those two of them.
I'd say the analog sticks are worn in on your poor old Switch there playing Mario Kart.
No, it's surprisingly not, but I've completed everything there is to do in the game. It's just a case of myself and my brother play a couple of races each night, and that's about
Awesome.
it.
It's,
About it, so.
Seamus, what have you been jamming?
I don't think anyone I've been playing an awful lot of FIFA.
Okay. How is that going?
Mixed reviews.
Right.
Yeah, we're stuck in Division 4 now. After
Can't get out of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's constantly changing people up though, and everyone plays the game a little bit differently. So
Okay.
it gives you a different kind of view. I have to adapt and play differently for different people because some people like to play further forward, some people play better off the ball and stuff like that. So I kind of I just play center.
Some people like to call for the ball all the time.
Yeah, that's one thing I have kind of
banned.
Put my foot on. I put my foot down for. I can't stand it. It drives me insane. I kind of want to throw my controller through the TV when that starts happening. But other than that, I was playing some Crash Bandicoot this week. I was having a chat with Paddy.
Awesome. I actually also was playing FIFA. I was playing Weekend League last weekend. You actually jumped onto the stream, and I ended up getting the 13 wins, so I got free entry into the next one. And I also got Collins in team, or was it team of the season pack? So it was a good get for the packs. I got my team up to scratch. Like, it's all Spanish. I got in Luis Suarez as my striker, absolutely banging them in. I changed Rakitic from a kind of a deep lying midfielder up to a cam, and he has just been doing wonders. That guy is a freak of nature in that game, if you can use him, because he is quite slow. But no, I'm still getting fun out of that game, and I think I'm going to be putting an awful lot more time into it next year, especially with Ultimate Team, and I'm sure you're going to be doing the same with pro clubs.
Oh, you're damn right I am.
So guys, we have that's the what we're playing section. So we've got a bit of news to get through. Hopefully Paddy has not thrown something on the teleprompter here that I'm just going to read out like last week.
Back to Paddy.
Ask Fano for more.
Ask Pat for more. Okay, so guys, the first bit of news, it's a pretty big bit of news for some people that mightn't have heard this news. We dropped it on the Republic of Players main page there last week, but Netflix is coming to E3. Now, I just want to get people's kind of rounded opinion before I go into the report. So Seamus, let me know your thoughts on Netflix coming to E3, and what do you think they're going to bring to the table?
I haven't got a notion what they're going to be doing. What you're going to get is the example for the thing was Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Are we going to get one of the Netflix shows that I love is it Outer Space? Is that what it's called? Yeah. It's written by Conan O'Brien, and it's hilarious. But I think that that would make a good game, because there's all the fighting and action scenes, and it's a cartoon, so it kind of makes sense for there to be a game involved in that. Other things that we might see, I'm not really sure. I think obviously the example was Stranger Things. I haven't watched the series, so I have no opinion on it. Maybe if they did an episodic thing. Do you ever, was it Love, Death and Robots? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, brilliant.
If they did an episodic thing with that for a game or something, things like that, I think would be really interesting. But I don't think they have enough original shows that aren't Marvel shows or something like that they can bring video games out of. I don't know what they're going to bring to E3 .
Okay, Pat, what would be your opinion on Netflix coming to E3?
Well, overall, I'm kind of excited to see what they bring. But if they can bring the level of production, high quality production, they bring to their TV series on Netflix, then I am really excited to what they could possibly make, because they're making a lot of TV series at the moment, and it goes from everything, from cartoons to your documentaries to dramas, everything. So they have such a wide variety of games to try and make something from.
Definitely, it really is a brilliant platform now, a brilliant streaming platform that's actually worth the few quid every month to jump on to. Jack, what do you make of this?
Honestly, I'm not a hugely pushed on it. I'm interested to see where they're going to go and what they're going to base these games off of, because from what I've seen of Netflix, yes, they have a lot of shows, but a lot of their bulk of original stuff seems to be edging towards a stand-up comedy and the like, and then some movies.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, will they make something new that then they will base a show on, or will they do a show and then base a game off it? It's hard to tell, but I am interested to see what they're going to do with it at E3.
Yeah, so
Just
I
a quick
suppose
correction there. Final Space is the name of that show, and if you
Final
haven't seen it,
Space.
go watch it.
Okay, brilliant.
Isn't there Bandersnatch as well?
Yeah, so that's
It's
kind of what I was
the-
gonna kind of my point was gonna be on, when like none of you actually mentioned what genre of game, how the games are going to work. Is it going to be a controller? I actually think what's going to happen is, like the Bandersnatch interactive movie, it's going to be you sit there with your remote control, and there's going to be maybe episodes where you're actually going to have to interact, whether it's Stranger Things, whether it's more Black Mirror, which the Bandersnatch was on. I actually think it's going to be more of those style games rather than a typical you sit down with a controller style. Now they could turn around and say, okay, we're releasing this video game controller that you can pick up I don't know, for 20 quid or 30 quid, and you can play these games. You could have, I don't know, platform games in the Stranger Things universe, stuff like that, but I don't think they're going to go down that way. I think they're really going to go towards what Bandersnatch was. And if any of you seen Bandersnatch or played it, or whatever way you want to approach that one, it was about a video game developer developing a game, and showing the struggles of that, and then you would interact with, say, decisions that he had to make along the way, like a Telltale game. I think that's the way that they're going to go. So the report reads that the company will come to E3 2019 for a panel calling Bringing Your Favourite Shows to Life, developing Netflix originals into video games. This news broke via NX Social Channel, which exists to promote science fiction and fantasy content on Netflix. When E3 asked for a teaser of what to expect, NX responded with gifs of its upcoming Stranger Things 3, the game, but also promised definitely more to come. So even just by that, like Stranger Things 3, so obviously you're talking about the third series, I reckon it's going to be an added episode, like maybe a special episode like the Bandersnatch. It's going to be interactive. I'm going to put my hands up. I'm not a big fan of these interactive games or interactive movies, and when I say that, I'm not a huge fan of the genre, the Telltale genre, or this Bandersnatch genre. I am the type of person that I love full-on gameplay, or I love putting the controller down and watching a movie. When I'm sitting there, when I sat there and I played the Bandersnatch one, I just felt like it breaks the immersion, it breaks the flow of what you're trying to watch, and it's not for me. So for me, this news isn't very exciting, but for people that like the Telltale games and games like Life is Strange, I think this is going to be right down their alley. So so that's Netflix coming to E3. I mean, it's a brilliant move by Netflix, because I think people are really going to enjoy these, and the fact that they're going to be based on their properties, I think it just adds a little bit more to what Netflix are bringing for such an amazing platform as it is. Any last words on that, guys, before we move on?
No, there's nothing else to be said on it, really.
So the next bit of news, guys, the show is called The Nostalgia Effect, and the reason why we named it that is because there's a lot of I suppose remakes and remasters and sequels to old games that we've heard about. And the next bit of news is the Mortal Kombat movie reboot is starting pre-production. The long development Mortal Kombat film reboot is at last getting off the ground and will begin pre-production this month. It's apparently going to be the largest ever movie filmed and produced in South Australia, creating hundreds of jobs in the region. Who's excited for a new Mortal Kombat movie, guys?
I have to say, I enjoyed the Mortal Kombat movie. Like, obviously, at the time when it came out, I was like 5 or 6. One, yeah? So I'm like, Anyway, back to what I was saying. Because like when I was like 5 or 6, that movie came out. And then there was actually a Mortal Kombat series that was on Sky One as well. I don't know if anyone remembers that. That wasn't bad either. But it depends on how they do it. I remember Machinima did a Mortal Kombat series on YouTube.
Okay.
and it was brilliant. It was really good. It was kind of, they took chapters from each other, from everyone's life and stuff. If they do this and they kind of keep it to the same as the original movie, it'll probably fall flat. If they change how, kind of give people more of a backstory. It seemed like they kind of just introduced someone and then they were all on the island. That's kind of how, if you watch the movie now, you're going to go, what happened in between. But I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm optimistic. Like, anything like that, I think they're hilarious to watch anyway. So if it's not good, I'm going to get a laugh out of it.
Exactly. Jack, you want to jump in there?
No, John, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bore you, Jack.
No, it wasn't you. Don't worry. I've had a long...
Okay.
So you're not looking forward to the Mortal Kombat movie, Jack, no?
Not really, no, but that's mainly because when you look back at fighting game movies, they do not have a great track record. You've got the original Mortal Kombat movie, you've got the Street Fighter movie.
Both awesome. Okay, move on.
Yeah, they're class.
But you've also got...
Tekken.
They also were,
all right.
Yeah, the Tekken movies, they weren't great,
Brilliant.
except for the one was good.
Dragon Ball Evolution, greatest movie of all time.
No. No, that was too far.
Oh, such a bad
Pat, what
movie.
do you reckon? Are you looking forward to
Dragon Ball
it?
Evolution.
Well, I'm hopefully optimistic, but that's
Okay.
simply because I've seen Detective Pikachu, and I didn't think it was going to be a particularly good film,
And it wasn't.
but after watching it,
No,
no,
I don't want to be putting words in your mouth.
But after watching it, like, I came out and went, yeah, that was actually pretty good. It's not the perfect film. It has a few flaws here and there, but overall it was a really good film, and it left me rather enjoyed when I watched it. So from now on, like, I'm going to look at video game movies as things that could be good.
Yeah.
Unless it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
But I mean, they're going
I'm
to
trying
change
to stay
that thing
optimistic
around.
here.
Yeah, but with Sonic, like, I think
Gotta go
if that comes
fast.
out, like I said, if that comes out and it's a good kids movie, I'll go and enjoy it. But let's get back to Mortal Kombat here, guys. For me, Mortal Kombat, I think the original one, I remember my mother worked in a video store when I was younger, when I was real young, and I went in, and when I seen the case of the original Mortal Kombat movie, it blew my mind, because I was like, this is a game that I've played for years, and now there's a movie, and let's bring it home. And I'm not going to lie to you, I loved it. I'll even go as far as saying I was that young when I watched the second one that I also loved that one. I'm not going to lie to you. It was that kind of case where you were so young, it was like, wow, these characters are on screen. I mean, if you want to throw another one in there, I watched the Mario movie way too many times when I was younger. Like,
Because it's class.
beyond the
I've
measure
never
of
actually
count.
watched
Like,
that. I'll hold my hands up and say I've never actually watched that, so I can't comment.
you should check it out. It's terrible.
It's
heard
stupidly
that.
funny.
But what I see with this movie is, first of all, you got to look at the new Mortal Kombat game that's getting great reviews. A lot of people are really impressed with the story that they're doing, the whole time travel thing, bringing old characters in. Like, they could actually approach it like that, and I don't know, I'd be very optimistic about this one. It is one that I would definitely go and see in cinema, just to see what it's like, and just to check it out, and to see where video game movies are in 2019 or 2020, whenever this thing is going to hit. So yeah, I'm optimistic about this one. I'll go and check it out and see what it's like. It kind of like that, it gave me that nostalgia feeling that we've been talking about, and I suppose we'll talk about the topic of the show later on, and yeah, the nostalgia would make me want to go and watch that movie. So guys, the next bit of news was a little bit of, it's a small bit of news, so we won't stay too long on it, but State of Play was on last week, and they announced some new games for PlayStation. We got to see a trailer for a few games such as Medieval, which also got a release date exclusive to PS4. That was October the 25th. A few more we got to see was a new Predator game, which is in the same vein as what was that game that came out, the one that
It's kind of like the Dead by Daylight kind of thing.
Yeah.
didn't really, yes, so one person is the Predator, and there's a group of Marines that go up against them. Marines, that's probably the wrong term. Johnny is going to kill me for that one. Johnny, sort me out with that one. But and then let me see, what else do we have? A dungeon crawler called Riverbond. some fantastic looking DLC for Monster Hunter, which we shouted out earlier on, and just a small one at the end. It was the Final Fantasy VII remake is coming. We have a trailer. We're going to drop it now. Seamus, I bet that you wouldn't get this. That it was never coming. I bet you a pizza.
Just wash it over me. just let me soak it in.
What did you make of the trailer, Seamus?
Thank you, Square Enix. Just let it wash over me. I think it's great. I don't think we see all the characters in it though.
No.
That's one thing I'll say about the trailer. So it kind of brings me to think like how much of it's actually done. I can't wait to go back to Midgar. I think it's going to be class, but I think that might be the only part because it's going to be released as an episodic thing anyway. More than likely. I have a feeling that that's probably the part we're going to get first is just Midgar, which is where you start off in the original game. And you meet the characters there because you meet characters outside of that in the game. Spoilers, there's more than just what's in there. But I didn't see any of them in the trailer. I didn't see Vincent, I didn't see Yuffie, and I didn't see Kate. Is it Kate Sith? Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of them in the thing. I got to see a little bit of the Sephiroth model. Would have liked to see a bit more. I think Cloud looks cool, and I think Barrett looks amazing. I think they've done a really good job with Barrett. There's a million things I want to say about this, but I can't wait.
I'm happy for you. I'm not going to lie.
Plug it straight into my veins. I will play it non-stop until I have every bit of it done. But there's just so much for that game. Like I just can't wait. It really is something that I've looked forward to for 20 years now.
Are you not a little bit afraid that it might?
No, don't care. I just see. It's just that I don't care if it's let down. That universe, just that whole universe, that whole story. It could be terrible. Like I'll put it this way: Crisis Core is not a great game.
Okay,
it's a fantastic story. To play it, it's not a great game. The Vincent Dirge Cerberus game, it's not a great game. It has a great story though.
Okay.
And they did say a couple of months back that they might not only be limited to doing just Final Fantasy VII as the game Final Fantasy VII. They could bring parts of Before Crisis, which was a mobile only game that you wouldn't have got over here. Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children as playable bits as well. You might actually get to see these as things you can play through.
And so, we were talking about kind of that episodic format that they were bringing, that's not changing. We're after getting confirmation on that, which I never really minded anyway coming out of hearing that news, because for me a JRPG in now when I have so much responsibility, it would be nice for me to get a snippet of the game, play through that, take a little bit of a breather, then the next episode comes out. I think that would work perfectly for me. But what do you think of this format? Would that suit you, or would you just like the whole lot given to you?
Like, if you're going to give me each piece of it and each piece is perfect, give me that puzzle, I will put it together.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic for content creators to give it to them like this, because they get to play through it. It's a first reaction every time they play through a segment of it. If you're if you make YouTube content, you're only making content for each piece as it comes up and down. If you're a streamer, you're only like I'm basically a FIFA streamer at the moment. But if I want to play that, I can play that for a day, maybe two, get through that part, and then it's back to basics. People know what's coming, but I still get to share that experience with everyone as it comes out.
That's awesome.
I'm not against it, as long as when it comes out, it's right.
Yeah. Well, maybe it shows that they'll take so much care in each episode that it will give, they'll release the episode and then they'll have time. Like, they've obviously created somewhat maybe halfway through the game, even if they're halfway through, maybe they've just done this first section. But the way I would like to see it, and I think it'll work for the story as well, is each CD that we had in the original, that would be an episode. I think that would work well for the story, and it would work well for, I suppose, me. I think each of those CDs are a big chunk of game, and each end of the CD feels like an end of a story beat. And obviously you put the new CD in, it feels like something fresh. So I think that would work really well in the episodes. Guys, have you anything to say? Are you going to jump into this, Pat and Jack, or are you stepping away from this one? Pat?
At the moment, I'm literally just playing through Final Fantasy VII. I probably should get back to it at some stage, but so far I'm enjoying it.
How far are you into
it? But the big problem, I think his name is Sid, where you get the plane.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just right there. But the episodic thing has me worried because the segments could be very small and they could deliver a lot of them over a very long period of time. And while if it is good, then that's great. I'd prefer to have like not too many, because then it just feels like it's going to be dragged on for a long time and never actually be finished.
Okay, that's a fair point.
You were saying there with the 3 discs, have a sort of like that.
Yeah. I think that would make sense.
Have like these big chunks and then release them separately, not at full price, but at a decent enough price.
Jack?
And that way, I think.
Sorry, keep going.
And that way, I believe that people will be happy enough that haven't actually touched the game to actually go in and give it a go, rather than going, well, this is only like one part of a game that could be several parts. I'm not going to waste loads of money on it. So the pricing of it has to be thought about too, I think.
What if they release episode 1 for free?
Well, then they get an applause, so they do.
But it's only a half an hour long. Does the applause get retracted? Yes. Jack, have you played the original Final Fantasy?
As a fan of Final Fantasy, a lot of people are going to kill me for this, but I've never. Well, sorry, I have played 7, but I only put about an hour into it, and my reasoning being was, at the time when I played it, it wasn't until I was in secondary school, and when I was going to play it, everybody I knew who was a gamer always told me, go play it. And honestly, it just completely turned me off. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved the idea of the game. I loved stuff like Advent Children. I loved anything to do with Final Fantasy VII. It was just a case of so many people got onto me to play it. It just turned me off the idea of it completely.
Jack, go play it.
No.
Go play it, Jack. So you're a hipster, is that what you're telling us, Jack?
No, I'm not a hipster.
You know what, Jack? Don't play it.
If you give me a chance to explain for a second.
No.
Was about to say I will give it a shot before the remaster comes out. Or the remake comes out. I will do that, but at that moment in time, it just turned me off it for a while.
That's fair enough. So guys, we're going to go on to our next piece of news. This one is aimed at Seamus again. I've played a little bit of it as well. World of Warcraft Classic is coming in August. Seamus has the special edition, the super duper edition, limited gold, figurine, all that jazz. Just the report reads, Classic WoW will be available on August the 26th, but if you're lucky enough, they're looking for people to try out the beta, which I know Seamus has signed up for Classic WoW Now, which you can sign up for now on the World of Warcraft website. Seamus is super excited to disappear out of space and time.
I warned people
the second time in his life.
I did. I warned people about this. I told everyone, I was like, guys, you can have me as a fully functional person until this comes out.
Are you going to be out in the forest?
I am going
bears?
to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy from South Park. I'm going to be the
day by day, kicking all the way. I'm not caving in.
That's going to be me, I swear to God. I cannot. Well, there goes Mario. I cannot wait to get back to Orgrimmar. I really can't. It is an experience like no other. It is the best online game experience ever. There's nothing that compares to it for me. I don't care if you're a fan of any other game. If you're a fan of any other RPG, if you're a fan of RPGs, you should play it anyway. I think you should get in there. You should start leveling up. If you don't get past 20, you're never going to make it. Full stop. But get in there and just like the whole game. Anyone who's going to play this isn't going to be salty. Anyone who plays this, they're playing it for yet again that nostalgia factor. They're there because they remember it. They're there because they want to help people get through it. Like Classic WoW is harder than any. It's the longest grind, and it's harder than any other game I've ever played. So. Like the community spirit that you get from it, as much as I remember, like I have people the second this was announced, I got a message to my phone saying, "Yeah, it's out on the 26th. Go order it now."
We're getting the old guild back together. You can just.
That's it. The boys just like the boys got. Yeah, I'll see you then. I was like, okay, I didn't buy the newest expansion.
Seamus, I hope you're not working this time. We need to put a lot of hours into WoW.
I didn't play the newest expansion. I didn't touch it at all. And I haven't played the game in probably 2-3 years.
What's that one called? Azeroth or something of Azeroth?
Battle for Azeroth. But okay. I've literally gone on and went and found them and got them. I have on my old macros from my original laptop, which is buried under here, for my rogue. I have them all copied and ready to put back into the game.
My macros. That's brilliant, dude. I'm happy for you. Do you know, we don't get much in this report, do you know, is it going to be up-res graphics? Are they actually remaking it, or are they just releasing the game
from the ground up? The whole game has been remade from the ground up. With
gameplay changes?
So it wouldn't be gameplay changes in a sense of different characters. Like, you're only going to have the base characters that came out in the game, so you're not going to have demon hunters, you're not going to have death knights and these other things that were added to the game. The way classic WoW works is paladins are an alliance character and shamans are a horde character. You can't have them on either side. So that makes PvP in the game really interesting. I'm going to play an undead rogue. For anyone who understands what that means, it means I'm going to be the guy hiding in the shadows and come up and steal your kills. That's me.
One of those guys.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. I am going for High Warlord, and if I don't get it this time, I'm never playing another game for the rest of my life. It's all or nothing this time.
Is that coming to console or just PC, Seamus?
I have heard about this thing where it could be coming to consoles, and I think it's a great move if they can pull it off. Final Fantasy 14's on consoles, and it's fantastic, and it's really manageable on consoles. Like, literally, because of the way that they have key bindings in that game, it works really well. If you could do the same thing with World of Warcraft, it would run really well on console, because the game, no matter how much they update the graphics and everything else, the game could probably run on a PS4 the way it is now, the way they have it now, like without any problems. Probably run on a PS3 because it's not graphically beautiful or anything. The scenery is really nice in World of Warcraft, but the actual characters and stuff, they're not as polished as, say, a Witcher 3 is.
Yeah, it's got its own art style, though. I think
it's very much so its own, but it runs on practically anything. It's like another Doom, but the game, I could talk about it all day. It is literally my favorite game of all time, bar none. I have the battle chest that I bought 10-15 years ago there beside me. Like, I have everything. Like, I have my original game keys and everything. Like, who holds on to those? I have them there. It's just something that what you're feeling with Monster Hunter World. Give me a week with you in World of Warcraft, and it'll change your opinion of any game like that forever, because it's just amazing.
Class. I've played it, dude. I put a considerable amount of time into it. My biggest problem I suppose it's always been the same, is I like to play different games. I like to play it, but when I played World of Warcraft, I mean, I don't know whether you remember the box set. It was like about, I suppose, this long. It had books, it had CDs, it had a different, I think there was a map in there, but I bought the big super duper edition because
was it these things?
No, it was a long kind of.
That's what the games were held in, little sleeves like that.
Yeah, so it was sleeves. They were in the box, yeah. So I bought that. I think I have it up in the attic still somewhere. But I put about a week solid into it. I slept very little, and I'd seen my life kind of fading away, and I was like, this isn't for me. I'm gonna get too addicted to this game, and I kind of put it down, and then I jump back into it every so often, just because I like, as far as South Park goes, that's my favorite episode of all time, the Have Love Not Warcraft. Just absolute genius. And that was one. It's done. But that was one of the games one of the episodes that got me wanting to play that game, and when I played it, I loved it. I loved it for what it was, and I seen the appreciation that people had with it, and that's what I wanted. But for me to put in the amount of time that was needed in that game, I just couldn't do it without, you know, letting every other game that I was playing go. So I put it down, and I mean, it's still upstairs. I have it upstairs. Maybe it is something that I could give another go and, you know, test it out for a while, but it's not something that I jump into full time ever. So yeah, like, I'm happy for you, dude. I really am. It's good that kind of nostalgia remakes are coming back. But do you think it's going to be as popular, or is it going to be like a flash in the pan? People are going to play it for a bit and realize, oh, we played like what, 1 million hours of this when it was first out. Is it going to be something like that, like a nice kind of? It has
been asked for 9 years.
Okay.
And when there was a private server made with this version of World of Warcraft called Nostalgia Race, and it was that popular that they had over one. This is how it was hosted in Russia, and it had over 1 million players, active players, come in every week, and this was for free. And Blizzard shut them down. But what they did was they hired some of the staff that did the coding for it to make Classic WoW, because there's just such a demand for it. People love it. It's absolutely, it's crazy. Like, this will bring their numbers back to where they were maybe 10 years ago. Like, it'll probably be one of the top 5 most played games in the world when it comes out.
Definitely.
Whether they continue on with it so that you can have like your classic WoW, and then you can have that thing I picked up a second ago was the Burning Crusade. That was the first expansion for the game. So if they can say like, oh, we're actually going to let you do this part, like the only part I will go up as far is Wrath of the Lich King, because the game after that for me it starts to go downhill.
Okay.
So if they were to do it, and they could say, oh well, you can replay this expansion if you want, but you have to pay an extra 40 quid. I'd do it because I love the Burning Crusade. Illidan is my logo on Twitch. He's my favorite video game character of all time.
I got a tattoo on my ass of the symbol.
Yeah.
Dude, see? I don't mean to cut you off, but we're going to have to go on to the next news point, which is a big one. But first, we're going to have a word from our sponsors. We'll be back in 2 seconds. Hey guys, the Alpha Fox here, and I just want to bring you a quick message from our sponsor. Our mission at Kaiju Gaming Lounge is to bring the social aspect back to video games in Cork City. There is a tendency with online video games for people to spend a lot of time alone while playing games with their friends over the internet, which may become isolating at times. We want to offer an alternative to spending time alone or in a pub, and instead engage in some friendly competition with existing friends or meet new ones in the process. Kaiju Gaming Lounge is the #1 sponsor for TROP-CAST, the #1 gaming podcast in Ireland, and the official podcast of the Republic of Players. And we are back, and that is Kaiju Gaming Lounge in Cork. Make sure if you're in Cork City for a trip, you call into Kaiju and play some of your favourite games with your friends or meet new people there. Awesome place that we're going to be hosting a podcast there very soon. So check out that place, and fair play to them. They're doing some amazing things. Guys, the next bit of news, and what I'm going to try and do is get the report up here because it seems to have failed on my computer, but Microsoft and Sony are joining forces. Does anyone want to jump in until I try and find where the hell this report is?
It was highly unexpected. Like, it's so just out of the blue as well. Like, you'd think you'd hear beforehand that something like this would happen, but no, it's really strange. But you can see that they're only helping out each other a certain bit with just trying to create the servers and make them work more smoothly for when they plan to stream their games. They're not really digging in on creating a server together. They're just sort of helping each other out.
Yeah, so I actually have the report here. So Microsoft and Sony have announced plans for a strategic partnership that will include technology and information sharing, as well as share infrastructures for some of their initiatives. While the announcement doesn't mention the Xbox and PlayStation brands specifically, which I think is really important to mention, it does suggest the partnership will focus on consumer entertainment platforms, including gaming. And specifically, the agreement says that the two will jointly develop future cloud solutions within Microsoft Azure. It also says that Sony will use Microsoft Azure for its own game and content sharing services, including a push to build better tools for content creators. The two are also committing to working together on semiconductors and artificial intelligence. So I mean, it's very, it's very technical. A lot of people, when they see these headlines, especially when it's on IGN and GameSpot, it's like, oh my god, they're going to be making games together. You got to rewind a little bit and actually look at the small print here. So it's talking a lot of, the cloud, and going to be building up that infrastructure there for what seems to be maybe the future of a streaming platform, that they're going to be maybe using their same cloud to stream for content creators to maybe upload stuff to. It's hard to kind of know what exactly and what details are going to be going on. Maybe we might hear something at E3. Microsoft might mention, Sony might be there without actually being there. It could be interesting. But guys, if any of you want to jump in, it's not as, I suppose, hot topic as the headline would suggest.
It depends though. Like, I think it could be good in the sense that, cloud storage for PlayStation saves and stuff like that. Does that you could end up, because they're joining services, we could have better storage space for stuff like that. Because I think all you get with PlayStation Plus now is 10 gigs. And if you're uploading every save for every game, you'll fill that quite quickly. Does it mean that there's more of a community kind of thing? PlayStation at the moment has communities. They will have drop boxes where you can upload videos from things and stuff like that. Will it mean that we have better servers for games? Will we see more cross-platform between games, between the PlayStation and the Xbox? As we were talking about there a few minutes ago, we were talking about, will World of Warcraft come to consoles? Could the Xbox and PlayStation share servers for this? Is this something that we should be looking into? Is this something that they're looking into? Is it something are we going to have shared achievements? If you have it on the PlayStation, you have it on the Xbox. Stuff like that.
So Johnny Dragon says in the comments, a really good point, that's why I want to say it is, to me it feels like a response to the changing face of the market, Google's platform, streaming games and such, which I think Paddy mentioned actually off the podcast, that is this, a response to Google Stadia's platform coming out? Is this I suppose their counter, but I'm not sure whether this was in the pipeline already, or is this a counterpoint? I'm not 100% sure. Pat?
I don't think it would actually be they're afraid of Google Stadia. I said they're a bit worried, but not afraid, because I was actually reading an article there not too long ago on a patent by Sony that looks like it's very similar to what Google Stadia is at this very moment in time.
Yeah.
So Sony have been using Gaikai and all that. They bought them out a good 2011 or 12, really well back. That's a really good point to constantly bring up, Pat, because people seem to always forget that about PlayStation, that they have been preparing for this style of gaming for a long time, long before Google ever decided. I mean, even Xbox have been doing the same. So I'm not sure whether scared or a counter to what Google's doing is probably the right response, but I don't know. It's interesting to see where they're going.
I think the idea would be that if they can keep their fan base on the consoles, it's better for them to partner up and keep everyone on consoles than to lose the audience to Google.
Yeah, I think it's just really hard to see, kind of.
But it's not like they don't. You have PlayStation now, and you have, what's the Microsoft one? No, that's just Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, these things, they're ready to go to war with this. What I mean? PlayStation just have to pull the trigger on it. With PlayStation 5, you're going to have the PlayStation 4 games getting uploaded onto PlayStation now. Simple as it. They already have the PS2 and the PS3 games up on it.
They're already uploading some PS4 games, older ones, but not the newer ones.
Yeah,
they're already ready for this streaming platform to come in place. They're just building it up slowly, stress testing it. That's all this is. It's a stress test. So when they decide to go all digital, it's already in place. They just hit a switch. It's on. There you go. There's your library. I don't know if Microsoft I think that's what Microsoft are benefiting from that side of it, because if they can get Sony's architecture and have everything put up on a front page like that, the way they have PlayStation now, they're just catching up. I think that Xbox, for me, isn't at the same level that Sony is when it comes to that. I think that the PlayStation now, because it's a plug and play thing, it's just you don't have to store the game. The game's played online. It's ready to go the second you press a button. They're a little bit ahead. I think with the whole
supposedly
the Game Pass thing, you still have to download the game to play it.
Okay. Okay, so it's interesting. Yeah, go on.
Can I just bring up the streaming side of it? Like, a lot of people aren't, even if you have the minimum requirement or have a good bit above it, there's always going to be some latency or lag there in the game. Like, I've seen someone with like 100 megabytes per second on the PSN now, and there was still some lag there.
I thought,
but that's what
the thing.
Sorry, go on.
That the thing that PSN now has also is that you can still download the game. That's you brilliant. Don't if that latency, even if it's there, you can download it yourself, and then the latency's gone. You have it downloaded.
I didn't know that. That's a really good feature, to be honest. That if it is a case that you do have slow internet, you don't have to stream, that you can actually download it and have it on your system. I think that could be a really good way to make this switch over a lot easier. You know, you're not streaming directly from the internet. If you have I don't know, low internet, then you can download it. It might take a couple of hours or days to do, but when you have it, and you're not going to get the latency from having the bad internet. So I think that's a really good, and it brings in the people that are, say, out in the suburbs and they have, I suppose, a little less a little less internet than the guys in the town have. So guys, we're going to move on. If actually, Jack, you wanted to jump in for a quick word there?
Yeah, no, the thing with people saying this is actually a surprise. Now, in all honesty, Microsoft joined hands with Nintendo not too long ago. So this really should have been expected. And to go on to a point that Seamus made about the achievements crossing over, I'd say they're going to have a kind of a cross-save kind of system in place as well, like the PS3, the PS Vita, and the PS4 have at this moment in time. Whereas if you have the same game on the Xbox and then on the PlayStation, the save on the both of them.
That could, yeah, that's interesting actually. It's an interesting point. So guys, the next one's just going to be a quick hit, and we're not going to stay too long in it. But after months at the top of the Japan sales charts for video game hardware, the Nintendo Switch has overtaken Sony's PlayStation 4 as the country's most popular gaming console. The Switch has now sold 8.12 million units in Japan, while the PlayStation 4 has sold 6.91 million units, based on sales figures from Famitsu. So it says, keep in mind that the PlayStation 4 has been available for 5 years in Japan, while the Switch is only available for the last 2 years. So we're not going to dwell on that too long. I think it's amazing. Jack, I'm sure you're going to back it up. Switch is an absolutely amazing piece of hardware. For anyone that has it, I'd never hear anyone complain about it. I think the games that they're bringing out on it are fantastic. A lot of people would say that Zelda Breath of the Wild is one of the best video games ever created. I would actually put it up there as well. I think it's an amazing achievement, that game. So, Jack, you actually have the Switch, and you're enjoying the hell out of that thing.
No, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. As I said earlier, Mario Kart 8 is and Fano has one as well.
Oh, nice, Fano. Sweet.
But the thing with it is, I think it's doing so well because it's like the Nintendo DS and everything. They cover a broad spectrum of different gamers.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'd say that's why they're hitting out so much, because you've got stuff like, you got Nobunaga's Ambition for the PlayStation, yeah, but outside of stuff like that and Dynasty Warriors, you kind of have a few niche areas that they don't go into with the PlayStation.
But it's also handheld and not handheld, which is amazing. Like, that's such an amazing feature to have, like, that you can dock it and you have it on your TV if you want to have that experience where it's just chill out gaming, or you know, you're through a quest in Breath of the Wild and you're playing it on your TV. Next minute you have to go on a bus journey, you take it up and then you're playing it on the bus. I think that's a really just awesome piece of hardware, and anytime I got to play it, I always convinced myself that I'm going to pick it up. It's just been a little bit too expensive for me. I don't think the piece of kit is expensive for what you get. It's just been a little bit too expensive for me to invest at the moment. So that's the Switch. Pat, have you got the Switch?
I do not, but I have.
You're the same as me. You're a cheap fecker.
Well, I have played it with friends, and the one thing I can always praise the Switch about is that you can play with anyone. because like it comes with the 2 Joy-Con, so immediately off the bat you can play 2-player games, and there is so many 2-player games to play. It's like I so appreciate that in a console, because like Xbox and PlayStation have gone away from that in recent years. There's not as many games that do this anymore, and for that I will bow my head to Nintendo and say fantastic job.
Yeah, unbelievable. So just a shout out to David Ayres there in the chat. I just wanted to show him this bad boy. I do have one of these, and I'll never sell it.
Is that the Slim?
I have one as well.
It's the PS Vita.
Is it the Slim Vita or the?
It's the fat one, is it?
I actually, I'm not 100% sure, dude.
Show us the side of it there, and I'll be able to tell you. Yeah, that's the Slim one.
Slim. I think it's the newer version.
The fat one has the silver bevels.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But I mean, if anyone wants to pick up a handheld, pick up that thing. Like the remote play is really amazing on it if you've got good internet, and I love it now. I'll never get rid of that thing. Seamus, you're about to say something there?
Just the only thing on the Switch things, like, no offense to Nintendo, the Switches are quite flimsy, so how much of these sales is just people breaking their Switches?
The funny thing is, James, I actually watched a video of someone doing a stress test on the Switch, and he was bending it, he was trying to break it in half, he was doing everything to it.
They catch fire and everything, though.
Never heard of one catching fire, but having it dropped and bent and everything seemed to have done next to nothing to it, so it's fairly durable in that regard, but electronics, they do.
Player One Gaming in the chat, do you get many Slims back, or sorry, Switches back? Let us know in the chat. Guys, so without further ado, we're going to head on to our last piece of news. Yes, it is our last piece of news. We've had a lot of news actually this week, and it is another nostalgia one. I know a couple of people in the chat are going to love this announcement, but we are getting a new Oddworld game. It's called Oddworld Soulstorm. I think that's right, and we've got a trailer for it, so let's rock the trailer. And we don't have much in terms of details here, but who here is an Oddworld? Is it Oddsworld or Oddworld? Oddworld, right?
Oddworld.
Apologies. I played it a little bit. It kicked my ass when I was younger, so I didn't put a whole lot of time into it. Who is a fan of Oddworld here?
Hello. I love Abe. Abe is my dude. He was like, I actually had Abe's Odyssey before I had Crash Bandicoot, so he was my like introduction to kind of like a PlayStation role model. Him and Rayman actually came before Crash for me. So I love him. The games are really hard.
Yeah,
they are difficult. They kick my ass.
Very difficult.
But the idea, it's same time it's simplicity, because it's anything, any way you die in that game, it's actually your own fault. The game doesn't bug out or anything like that. It's really well made. But I just think him as a character, it depends. I don't know what this game is going to look like. Is it going to be another side scroller? Is it going to be a 3D over the shoulder kind of thing? Well,
from the trailer, it looks like very similar to the original. Same art style, same gameplay, same everything. It even looks like it's got a little bit of a retro style to it. So I think you'll be happy with what they have.
Graphically, it looks like new and tasty. The remake they did a couple of years ago was released on the PS4 and everything.
I actually have that on my PS4. I think he's a cool character. He was like my original mascot for the PS4. I know Crash came out and he was the one, but for me, he was my original mascot for the PlayStation.
Okay. So guys, we got to move it on a little bit. We're going a little bit over, but I don't care. We're having a bit of crack. We're going to go on to topic of the week, and the topic of the week, I hope Jack is going to add to this one. Because I find that nostalgia is a big thing when it comes to his gaming style. But does nostalgia affect our purchasing of new games? Before I go to you, Jack, I might throw it to one of the guys first. Pat, does nostalgia affect your purchasing of new games?
Yes. Quite a lot so. Like, there's so many games that I've just bought that, like, I played this in my childhood. This is great. Let's play it again. But sometimes
so what are you talking
it's
about?
like,
Crash? You're talking about Crash Bandicoot? You're talking about Ratchet and
Crash
Clank?
Bandicoot over there. The Medal of Honor that was the like reboot of Medal of Honor on
That
PS3.
was brilliant.
Okay.
I was not too fond of it.
No,
I was
I
like,
wasn't
oh,
crazy about
it's okay. But I bought it simply on the fact that, oh, this is Medal of Honor. And during the PS2, Medal of Honor was my favorite first-person shooter franchise of all time. And it actually still is. And I was like, oh, it's just so normal compared to all the other games that have come out. And like, I was so disappointed with what I bought. Like, even Crash Bandicoot there. Like, I didn't need to buy it. I have like 1 and 3 up there in my press. All I need to really do is get 2, and like basically not that much of a difference in the gameplay. There's like little small tweaks, but it's not that big of a difference. And like I'm thinking, why the hell am I doing this to myself? Like Medieval's going to be coming out, and I have good fond memories of that. I'll most likely buy it.
Oddworld.
CTR's coming out. CTR's come back. That's another remake of a game that I really adored as a child. I will get it.
So even though people complain about these remakes and reboots, people still buy them, is what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah. It's because like you have this ingrained in your head. Like if a new Medal of Honor does come out, it doesn't matter how bad the trailers look. I will buy it. I bought Warframe and it was like the worst first-person shooter I played last generation. Like it was dog crap. But like it was Medal of Honor. So to me it was like I have to buy this game. This has been a game that I grew up with, a game that I enjoyed, loved, everything about it. And even if it's trash, I'll still buy it. Even if it's like a remake of a game that I played before, I'll still buy it. And I'm not sure why. It gets down to love, I think, and the abusive relationship I have with video games. But usually it's my wallet that only stops me when it's empty.
Not your heart. Something magical about that, Pat. Magical and terrifying as well.
every time an old game gets re-released, he's just.
I'll tell you actually, one thing. Like Spyro the Dragon's the first game I ever played, and it's still one of my games that I hold very dear to my heart.
Okay.
I've not gone out and bought the remake yet.
Have you learned lessons?
I think I might be learning.
It's only took you this long, but you're getting there.
Yeah, getting there. I'm slowly becoming an adult. Only took 21 years.
Probably a stupid question for you. So, does nostalgia affect your purchasing of new games?
I wonder. Let's see. We've got Final Fantasy X, 10, 2 remastered, Dark Souls remastered, Resident Evil 2, Sega Mega Drive Classics, Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, Diablo 3, Devil May Cry, Crash Bandicoot, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. I think I'm
so what is it, Seamus? What is it that makes you go out and buy these games that you've already played and put hundreds of hours into?
They're brilliant. I actually have 2 copies of this. I have it. It's literally just there, and the PS2 copy as well.
Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah,
that's a great game. Very underrated.
Game.
Very, very underrated. Star Wars Final Fantasy game.
Literally, both PS4 copies.
One's a steelbook.
Yeah, one's a steelbook. That's not on purpose. I kind of ended up buying one to give away and then never give them away. But yeah, nostalgia in video games. I am probably king of nostalgia. And just another one. I got a Steel thing of the Dark Souls remastered.
Class.
Yeah.
That was given to you, right? In GameStop.
Yeah, it was given to GameStop. They came up and they're like, "You like Dark Souls?" Yes.
With a Dark Souls t-shirt or something.
100%. Sitting there at a fire, that's what I was doing. No, yeah, seriously.
Walking in like this.
Nostalgia in the air. It's as simple as this for me. If I like it the first time around, I'm going to like it the second time around. Games I'd like to see them do remasters of. Did anyone ever play Nightmare Creatures?
Oh, yeah. Definitely remember the name.
I have. Don't make a remake of it. I don't need to spend more money.
It's a fantastic game on the PS1. They were brilliant. There was two of them. And another game called Loaded on the PS1. It was a top-down shooter.
Yes, I remember Loaded. It
I would love to
kind,
see them.
wasn't it kind of like Hotline Miami style?
All I have is like gaming receipts.
It was
You
like
pick different characters.
It was like
That's
a
my
futuristic prison break kind of thing.
Yeah, you pick different characters, right? And you had different weapons. Yeah. Deadly.
Yeah. I'm
That's
probably
an old
Twisted
game.
Metal. I'd love a new Twisted Metal.
That'd be good.
Jack, does it affect your buying?
I don't know, does it?
So just tell the guys listening to the audio what you're holding up there.
Basically, yes, it does to a degree. There is a lot of games that do get remade that I did play when I was that I wouldn't go out to buy again. But there is ones that I will happily buy for everything that come out of. Like Final Fantasy X, I have it for the PS3, the PS Vita, and the PS4. Now I just need to get it for the Switch and the Xbox One. And Crash Bandicoot was another one that was great, and to be honest with you, I enjoyed it when I was younger, but when I got older and they changed up all the mechanics of it and everything, I actually enjoyed it more nowadays than when I did when I was. For some strange reason, I don't know why. I just enjoyed it a lot more, and I've even gotten into the speedrun of the third one, which would have been my least favorite when I was younger. And then Spyro. Spyro was one of the other bigger ones that came out, and then you got CCR, as Pat brought up earlier. So there is a lot of ones that I do want to get that come out, but there's also ones that I did play when I was younger that I just have absolutely no interest in getting again.
Okay.
Just a point. It's not even. It's for people who love nostalgia in games. One game that pays homage to some elements of the games. If you haven't played it, go get, and you like the Sonic games, get Sonic Mania, because it has remakes of a couple of levels in it, and they're absolutely brilliant.
What a great
and
shout!
That is pure nostalgia. The remakes of the first kind of levels and stuff like that. They're really, really good, and it is it's not because the whole game there is actually new levels to it, so it isn't just nostalgia.
It's creative nostalgia. Like it
I
does
think
a little bit different. It feels new but old at the same time. That's a great example, dude. I couldn't have even thought of a better example of nostalgia being done right and just feel, because I bought that game a while after actually it was released. And I just loved it. I mean, I had the class playing it there on Monday, and we're just running through it, and it was just great fun. Like, everyone just loves that game. And I love the fact that Sonic Mania came out, because for years Sonic was getting bashed as a game that wasn't that good. I mean, I don't want to curse, but every gaming outlet, IGN, all the big ones were turning around and saying, you know, was Sonic that good? You know, it's not that great. The mechanics, blah, 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 blah. And then Sonic Mania came out, and the whole gaming world just gave the fingers up to everyone that ever dissed Sonic in the last 10 years, and it was brilliant. So yeah, what a great example. What? Yeah, I know, but look, there's always going to be terrible games in the series. But I mean, if you get a game like Sonic Mania that plays homage to the old school stuff, and they execute it as perfectly as they did with Sonic Mania, you can allow for the crap in between. I say. So for me, I suppose there's one game, the most satisfying remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it. It's actually not that game. Like, a lot of people will think I'll say Dark Souls. I didn't finish the remastered Dark Souls. I played it for a little bit, but I just have such fond memories of the first time I played it. Seamus is holding it up right there. It is Resident Evil 2. I mean, that game blew my mind ever since I seen the first trailer for it, ever since I knew they were going to be doing different scenes in it, ever since I seen just the graphics, and then I jumped into it, and it was nearly like playing the same game again, but it was different. It was difficult. It felt like a survival horror, like I wanted a Resident Evil to feel like for so long. 4 did it really well, but I think with Resident Evil 2, it's got such a fantastic story with great characters, and it really scares the shit out of me, to be honest with you. The lickers in the original scared me. The lickers when I seen the licker in the remake, and couldn't kill him for a long time, because I played that game on hardcore mode, being a masochist. Is that the right word?
Masochist.
Yeah. So that was my demise, but it was also something that I loved, and it was one of the best the best experience I had for a remake, and I suppose that nostalgia really brought home, I suppose, to buy that game. I remember just playing that game, the original, in my room with my brother sitting beside me. He was scared, I was scared, and it was just that memory of, I suppose, like I said, my mother working in the video box, going in and seeing, I suppose everyone remembers the black case with the zombie face and the Resident Evil 2 in red. Like, I'll never forget that, and I think it definitely does, it, like, for that game, it definitely did affect me buying the remake and looking forward to it. So yeah, that's how nostalgia affects our purchasing of games. Look, I like certain types of remakes, and I like when they're done right, and I like when effort is done, like Sonic Mania, what a great example, Seamus, like Resident Evil 2, and hopefully like Final Fantasy 7 when it comes out. I hope they do that game justice, and I hope they do bring out just an amazing recreation of one of the best games ever made, let's be honest. So let's go on to our couple of quick sections at the end, guys, and this day in gaming. Seamus, I know you got it ready to rock. Let's hear it.
I'm right, I do. So, right, we didn't go back too far now. We're going to go back as far as 2000. And Square Enix released a game in 2000 called Vagrant Story on this day today.
Oh, nice.
It was another RPG. It was their kind of first step outside of the ATB kind of generic Final Fantasy system.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games that people, it's kind of like Marmite. People either loved it or they hated it. For me, it hasn't held up at all. I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. But I was so used to playing Final Fantasy like 8 and 9 came out around this time as well. So there was
which
really
were gorgeous.
Good titles. And then in 2003, I don't know if anyone played this on the PS2. We got the Shinobi release on the PS2.
I played
Never
a
played
small bit of that at one stage. Very small bit though.
I remember it being like a white case, and then Shinobi was in like yellow writing or something.
Yeah.
It was a remake, was it?
It was a case of that.
Of the original, or was it just a totally new game?
It's like a Ninja Gaiden kind of thing, I think. It has that kind of third person-y kind of thing. It wasn't like a side scroller. In 2006, we got X-Men, the official game today. That's the one with Hugh Jackman on the cover of it as Wolverine.
Class.
I didn't play it now yet again, but the next game I did. In 2008, we got Silent Hill Origins.
Ooh.
And that
was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I love Silent Hill.
Is that the game that changed the mechanics to be a little bit more smoother, or
it was a little bit more polished. It didn't feel like you were turning.
I like that game.
You didn't have to kind of stand to turn or anything like that.
Yeah, it was smoother kind of I don't know, movement or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't tank controls basically.
Yeah.
I like that game.
In 2011, we actually got a game that I didn't know was this old. We got Terraria.
That's that old.
Yeah.
It's 8 years old.
Wow.
Holy Jesus.
I didn't know Terraria was that old. It came out on Steam 8 years ago today. And then 2 years ago, I think Ronan played this recently. It was just the last game I kind of seen on it. We got The Surge.
Yes, it was free on PSN. It's actually free on PSN this month. And it is Souls-like. It is kind of science fiction.
Like a mechanical based
Souls game. So think of Ripley in her loader, yeah, exactly, and that's what you're in, and you can upgrade it and stuff, and the controls are very similar to Dark Souls. You've got your light and heavy attack, you upgrade your character as you go through. There's a pretty good story to it and a really interesting world. Yeah, check that one out definitely if you're into those games.
And that was this day in game.
Awesome. So I am looking through my Guinness Book of Records gaming edition, and let me see if we can get something
there
here.
There was no world records ever broken.
So here we go. So let me see if we're on. Okay, we're on 2019, and I just have shoot 'em ups here. We have most played Xbox shoot 'em up, top down shooter Halo Spartan Assault, Microsoft 2013 here. It says here had been played 94,000 by 94,000 blast happy gamers as of the 2nd of February 2018, according to True Achievements. Set between Halo 3 and 4, it follows the events of the Great War as players pick up arms to battle Covenant forces once again. So there you go. Little Halo throw out there.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it either. So
Microsoft.
we're going to go on to community section, guys, and if you have any questions at all, I know there was a couple thrown at the start of the show, but if you have any at all, let us know in the chat. Mercer said, can someone play Wildlands with me? Dude, I'm always up for some Wildlands. The new trailer looks absolutely sick beyond belief. And to go into, I suppose, a little bit of detail while we're waiting on questions there, the new one has survival elements in it that I'm really interested in, kind of like a Rambo style, and the terrain looks amazing as always, and you got John Burtnall as well as what looks like he's going to be the villain, like an ex special ops that maybe turns rogue or something, and yeah, I'm buzzing for that game.
So, Kush just asked us two questions. He asked one that was aimed at you, Ronan and Jack earlier, asking if he's fought Bahamut yet in Monster Hunter World.
No. I suppose I'm probably very early on in the game. Jack, hopefully you can jump on after this and we can
I'm
play
not too far on, so
we can play till about 4 o'clock in the morning. Nice and early.
One we actually mentioned earlier, the release date for Medieval Kush is the 25th of October.
Okay, perfect. Let me see here. I'm just going through.
There's a great comment there from David O'Connor saying up Swindon Town. Thank you.
Mercer said, where's Paddy? Paddy just was off this evening, had a couple of things he needed to do, so he'll be back again next week stronger than ever and giving his point hopefully on the Netflix. He was kind of interested in Netflix being at E3, so hopefully we can hear his thoughts on that. And let me see through. Oh yeah, just so I suppose with nostalgia, I actually have a Black Mesa research facility cup that comes from the original Half-Life game.
Streamer, really appreciate that.
Yeah, so it has Delivering the Future on it. Half-Life 1, you know, one of my favourite games of all time, one of the first real, I suppose, first-person shooters I played, and just still blows my mind to this day. And if anyone's out there...
There's a good question.
Go for it.
From Streamer, it says, who do you think would be the next in line for the Fortnite film treatment, aka John Wick, etc.? Like the way they had done with, like, with the Avengers and stuff. So what do you think would be the next thing?
Okay.
Movie Sonic.
Sonic.
There'd be rings in the sky and everything. It could
You
work,
could
to
see
be fair.
that, couldn't you? You really could see that.
As you go through the bling, bling.
So okay, what did you have? You had John Wick, which I think worked perfectly. I think there's a new skin that got released today that it's actually called John Wick. I think it's just literally him. I know a lot of people were giving out saying that they had the original, but I think it's slightly different. What was the original one called? The original John Wick skin. It was like
ages ago.
I know Paddy, if he's there, he'll be able to help us out.
Yeah, that was one of the battle passes ones.
David O'Connor says, is anyone playing FIFA at the minute for team of the season? Yeah, I played Weekend League and I got Collins as a team of the season card, which I'm hugely delighted with. So I've got Suarez and I've got Collins to come on to give me some height then for next week in the Weekend League, so I'll be playing that. What's your favourite video game movie? I think we've talked about that one before, but real quick, Pat, what's your favourite video game movie?
Do you know, I'll probably go Kingsglaive from Final Fantasy.
Brilliant choice. Wow. Brilliant choice. I love that as well. Jack?
Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children.
Okay. Seamus?
I would say probably Advent Children just because it is Final Fantasy 7. That's one of my favourite games of all time. But there was a really good Resident Evil one that came out a couple of years ago. I think it's called Damnation.
Do you want about the animated one, are you?
Yeah, it's an animated movie. No, it's Degeneration. So it's called.
Yeah, that's the one. That was very.
And it's based around kind of the Resident Evil 2 thing. So, and you should actually watch that, Ron, if you get a chance.
Yeah,
it's
I will
very,
definitely.
Very good. They have a couple of animated movies. I think they're all in kind of the same series. They've got like the Generations, the first one, then it's Damnation and Vendetta. They're all based around, I think, Leon S. Kennedy, so they're all pretty good. But animated wise, that's probably my favorite ones. But apart from like a favorite series, but as a solo one, Final Fantasy Advent Children probably is.
Okay. I suppose I'm with Pat there on that one. Kingsglaive actually blew my mind and made me appreciate Final Fantasy 15, the game, even more than I would have if I didn't watch it. And I thought it was actually brilliant even as a standalone. But just to, I suppose, throw another one into the mix because that one is taken. I loved the Silent Hill movie. I thought they got the atmosphere down to a T, and really creeped the hell out of me. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, that was. What else do we have here? Imagine Jack as a Fortnite character, just be sitting there with a hurl protecting his fine china. I'd buy that one anyway.
No one goes near my china.
So, what do you think? Yeah, so guys, I think that's all the questions we have. We are going to do our shout outs and get the hell out of here. Seamus, what is your plugs and where can the people find you?
I have loads of plugs, but they're all plugged in at the moment. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Maroxide. I'll take that one too, Jack, please. Yeah, at Maroxide, and we're streaming all these. I'm actually going to be starting a Pokemon Let's Go series on Twitch soon. So if anyone's into Pokemon, drop in, say hello. We're going to be doing some things with that and interacting with people.
Perfect. And Jack, where can the good people find you?
I know I said this a couple of weeks ago I'll be starting, but you can find me at the Platinum Jack on Twitch and Waxicles on Instagram. I will hopefully be getting started on Saturday. We'll see how long that holds up for though.
Awesome. And Pat?
If you want to find me, which is very questionable, I'm on Twitter under the name of Pat Gone Mad with a capital R at the end. And you can find me on PSN and it's Pat Gone Mad.
Deadly. Yeah, so just someone in the chat, why is it called TROP-CAST? Yeah, the Republic of Players podcast. The guys are after clearing that there. So for me, the Alpha Fox is my Facebook channel, my Twitch, my Twitter, my what else do we have?
Everything.
Instagram.
Everything, basically. Instagram.
Chicken dipper sauce.
Yeah,
I hear it's on toilet rolls now these days.
So just search whatever platform you're on, throw in the Alpha Fox, you'll see my symbol, and hit a follow, hit a share, hit a like. Also, please hit a subscribe on this YouTube channel and tell your friends about us. We have been going, we're coming up to a year that we're doing this podcast. I also want to do a big shout out to our sponsor Kaiju Gaming Lounge, and just I suppose a selfish plug for me, I have started my own business called Fox Digital Media, and I am in the National Learning Network teaching kids digital media, gaming, streaming, video editing, podcasting, and it's going really well at the moment. It's at a bit of a crossroad now. I'm going to be doing it more full time coming into the future, so if you could go over and like that page, Fox Digital Media, that would be fantastic as well. We're going to be having a massive guest on next week, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but if you stay tuned into the Republic of Players over on the Facebook, we will be announcing it during the week. It's not you, Seamus, because you're here every week. You're special, but you're not what's coming next week. So I think without further ado, guys, thanks a million to everyone that's dropped in. Thanks a million to everyone that listens to us after the show. Make sure to go over to the Spotify as well. I need to start writing down these plugs because there is a lot to shout out. But I hope I don't forget anything.
Scroll there, at least type my ma, me dad.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so the two important ones, guys, is the Spotify, TROP-CAST Spotify, and the Republic of Players gaming community. Also go over to Kaiju Gaming Lounge Facebook page and hit a like on that as well. And if you're in Cork City at all, drop a follow or drop in and have a couple of games in there. So that has been it, guys. Episode 32, the Republic of Players podcast, from Ronan, your host, Jack, Pat and Seamus. This has been TROP-CAST episode 32, and we are out.